Yo, we're the Shelters, and we're hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
You guys just dropped your latest single.
We did.
You're different. Tell me about the creative process for this track, and it took some time before. It's been what, 2 years since you guys last released music. So what was different this time around when you guys went into the studio to create it?
It took a while. We want to make sure we came up with the right songs. We had to figure out something new and exciting. That song is kind of like a conversation with yourself about how like you're thinking about the ways in which you've changed and the ways in which like life has changed you. And I guess it's just like trying to accept it or embrace it or fear it. What do you do with those feelings? That's kind of like the thought process behind it lyrically. But it's just like a new chapter in the band, you know.
And this is the first listen to the upcoming album, the sophomore album. So in the last 2016 was when the debut album dropped. So from 2016 to now, how do you guys feel the band has kind of evolved, in your sound and in the way that you create the music?
Wow. Well, we're constantly listening to music and hearing new things and trying to implement it into our sound in whatever way. So there's definitely influences apparent, I would say, on this record that maybe weren't apparent on the first record, just from years of listening to music. Every time we hear something we like, we try to take influence from it,
Right. Yeah, and we added it. So now we have to have an extra guy to help us play it live because it's gotten more complex for sure. Yeah.
So did you guys decide to get more complex in the creative process, or was this Joe Ciccarelli's idea to kind of add more to it?
I would say we both, it was a good combination because Joe actually managed to kind of rein us in a little bit sometimes when we were getting too far out, I think. And so it was a good combination. He didn't restrict us from experimenting, but he did kind of rein us in sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, I think like making anything new, you have to kind of create something that hasn't happened yet. So we wanted to, branch out from what we already did, not just do the same thing over again,
Right. So how did you guys get to working with Joe? Did you guys know him prior, or were you guys like testing out producers, and then this is the one that kind of caught your attention?
Yeah, we kind of just met a bunch of people and saw who we vibed with and thought we connected really well with him. Some people, don't really get the band or want to do something a little bit too radical maybe that we don't really feel comfortable with, and it's a very personal relationship with your producer. You're showing them songs on the acoustic, maybe the first person you've showed besides me or Josh or something. So it's kind of like you want someone you can trust in there and know they have the best interests of the band at heart. Right.
So when you guys first worked with him, that first session you guys had with him, what was that vibe like? Was that instant vibe that you guys had, or did it take some time before you guys actually got to get comfortable with him?
Well, when we first met him, we liked him right away. And working together, with anybody, it takes time. It's just like adding a new piece into the puzzle, So it's trying to fit it in, so it took us a little bit of time, I'd say, a couple weeks of pre-production and kind of running through the songs and hearing his opinions, and it was good. Eventually we were gelling fine, yeah.
And we needed it. Josh and I spent, the last year, we spent like a whole year writing and demoing most of our songs. And even, in fact, we kept a lot of the demo stuff for the record, So it's like we needed someone to come in and be like, all right, guys, let's sort through this and, kind of focus our energy a little bit. So it's always good to have a producer.
Now, how did you guys feel like you both challenged yourself, or the band entirely challenged yourselves on this album? Maybe whether it's sonically or instrumentation.
Yeah, I think that sonically it's like every time we went to reach for a guitar, maybe it was like, what else can we reach for besides a guitar? Because that's where, instead of rest on our laurels, try to do something a little bit different. Yeah. So we'd reach for a keyboard or a theremin or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the same exact thing. We just basically would implement new sounds that we didn't have before, and I'd say even aside from sonically, just songwriting-wise, we've kind of branched out a little bit too, and I don't think we've ever really been able to pigeonhole what genre we are trying to be, but we've just made it more difficult basically with this. So, good luck. I don't know what you want to say about that.
So as far as the songwriting kind of changing a little bit, did you guys already have, when you guys were writing the lyrics, did you guys already have in mind the extra sounds that you were going to add to this music?
think you kind of fall. It's like half and half. I think whoever has the majority of the idea comes in there and they have something in their head. But I think that like the beauty of working on a record and in a studio and just recording music, that's the fun part. Is just like things just falling into place that you never thought could happen. You heard the song this way, and all of a sudden someone has an idea. Like, no, let's do that on an acoustic, or no, let's do it on a keyboard, or whatever, and it turns into this whole different thing. Or the drum groove is completely different. So many of these songs started, over here, and they're just completely full spectrum the other thing. So I mean,
any like different ways of recording sounds that you guys did, like maybe a unique kind of way that you guys try? Because I feel like a lot of artists now are trying to step out of that comfort zone and like trying something different to create a sound.
I mean, we always are searching for sounds, and there's a lot of people who are good at doing that. We tend to use the things that are around us, which ends up being a lot of guitars and weird echoes and things that just we like the sound of, and the limitation of them kind of gives them a certain quality that we like. Yeah. So we don't go too far into the rabbit hole. I mean, we definitely just use the things that are around us and try to combine them in strange ways to make unique sounds, so.
Like the perfect gel between a Joe, who's like, such a slick producer, has made such big, great sounding records, and then like us, who are a little bit more amateur, is like we get to bring in a little bit of that grit, or that kind of like, we just set up a, really kind of trashy mic somewhere and just, kind of sneak it on the recording because we think it sounds cool. And then the combination of that and him actually getting the one that you actually need to kind of put behind it, that's what makes, the sounds sound cool, Right.
Now, one of the things that I notice with you guys is when I go, whether it's your Facebook or your Instagram or your YouTube account, like the comments that I continue to see is that your fans love the live show. Like, it's so much energy in the live show, and they talk about it so much. So the fact that you guys have such a great live show, do you guys consider that when you guys are in the studio creating this music, and how much of that live show gets impacted into the actual recording process?
I mean, it's kind of the chicken or the egg thing, because we know we're going to play them live, but at the same time, it's not used as a limitation in the studio at all, because we do things on the record that there's no way we can do without an orchestra or something. I don't know. So we realize that we're going to have to play them, and we know that there'll be compromises made when we go to play them, but sometimes those compromises end up being charming to certain people, I guess, in the live show. So I can see that. I mean, I have fun in the live show, and I think certain songs take on a little bit of a new life in the,
Which is fun. That's the most fun, is to see what you can do with them live. And I think, like, to Josh's point, I personally like to have, the studio track and then the live version. I think it's kind of fun. It makes it exciting, instead of just like not doing something because you're not going to be able to do it live, or feeling badly that, your track, your studio track doesn't sound like this crazy energy. I mean, how are you supposed, it's fleeting, it's like, how are you supposed to be able to do that? It's really hard. We really try to capture energy, but it's like different. Every room's different, every place is different, every night's different, so there's an energy in every room, and like that's what makes shows so great, and that's what live music is about. It's like feeling the energy of everyone come together, and that's, you can't really always create that. So I mean,
and YouTube comments. That's the other thing that it's all about.
So you guys, the album drops the 20th of September, I believe. So where are you guys at right now in that recording process? Like, you guys are completely done with the recording process?
We're done. We're ready to get it out there. We want everyone to hear it. It's been a while, so it's been a long journey to get here.
We're basically at the stage of trying to play the stuff live, so that's what we're going to try to do here in a little bit. So that's a stage in itself. So that's what stage we're at. We've finished recording it. Now we just have to play it.
You guys have a name for it yet? Is that something that you guys are still trying to figure out?
Well, we're just not saying it yet. We're trying to be mysterious.
Hey,
Eventually, though, it'll get so many YouTube comments. It'll be big.
Aside from the album that's dropping on the 20th, can fans expect a tour to follow it once it drops?
Yeah, we're trying desperately. Take us on tour, baby.
We're just trying to find the right thing to do at the moment, but we're gonna be out there at some point.
Awesome, guys. Thank you.
Like I said, we're trying out the new songs tonight, so if they go well, then we'll tour.
Depending on how tonight goes, we'll know about the tour.
Yeah. We may just break up after this. Yeah.